Happy Friday, folks, and welcome into the Natty State Six Pack. Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis here from the studio, and it is, just a perfect day in Fayetteville. It feels like spring, Andrew, and apparently it's coming early thanks to my guy, Puxatomi Phil, for seeing his shadow. Although, listen, man, I will say I think it's kind of BS that the groundhog gets its own day. It's very low on my power ranking of furry creatures. I would go, beaver, because...
You want a beaver day?
I want a beaver day. Yeah, that's number one. The platypus, I think, is underrated. Hedgehog, it's versatile. We know what Sonic's
is better,
capable of. Yeah.
They could have made Sonic the guy for it.
Yeah. Even the gopher, I think, has more redeeming qualities than a groundhog. But, whatever. If he decides when spring starts and winter ends, then cool.
How did you pronounce that guy's name?
Puxatomi Phil.
I saw that word on the internet this morning, and I was not familiar with his name. I don't know why.
Okay.
I knew about the groundhog. But literally, I was just kind of scanning the internet to make sure we didn't miss anything crazy for the show. And I was like, why is Puxatomi Phil? Who is this guy? And then I saw the video of him holding up stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, that's that guy. I don't know why this was the first year. I'm 26. This is the first year I've actually seen that guy, the dude that does the groundhog check. I did not realize he had a name. Maybe I'm just stupid here.
It's a weird big deal, and I don't know how they get him to come out of his hole. Does he wear a suit, or does the guy who's waiting for him to come out of his hole wear a suit? I should have done more research on this, but it's an interesting deal.
I enjoyed learning about it this morning. But I've heard of I remember when I was a kid and I'd come to school on Groundhog Day and people would be like, oh, he saw a shadow, more winter. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just never really questioned who it was they were referring to. I didn't realize, has it been the same guy the whole time?
I don't know. This has been probably a centuries old thing.
You dropped Puxatomi Phil, whenever you said it, I was like, oh, so everybody knows who this guy is.
Yeah. It is the groundhog. You know that, right? It's the actual animal.
That's the name is the groundhog.
Yeah, they named the groundhog Puxatomi Phil.
But
there's a dude, I'm pretty sure, that's in a suit and he's waiting for him to come out. He's probably has a monocle or something.
The guy that's the video, I don't know if you saw the video I saw, he was holding it up like they had just captured the groundhog. He was we found it. It was like Osama bin Laden, man. It was crazy.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah, I was really I thought it was an execution for a second. I was really worried.
But that's a good point. That's probably why it's Groundhog Day, because you couldn't do that to a beaver. Get smacked, man.
Well, it has to be in the ground.
Couldn't catch the hedgehog. He's too fast. So
yeah, I've seen Sonic move. He moves quick.
Yeah, I think we're on.
He collects those rings quick.
Anyway, this wasn't part of the six pack, but it was a good start.
Really wasn't even one of our things.
we do have a lot to talk about. We got to start with this Alabama business. You think we have a gambling problem? How about the dude that cost Brad Buchanan his career by being a dumbass? It's just such an interesting situation. Happened last year, but all the details have kind of come out now. I wanted to tee you up on this because I know you're passionate about this entire ordeal.
Yeah, man. Also, I want to issue a public apology to one of our loyal listeners, Addison. Y'all familiar with Addison?
Yeah.
She's always commenting.
Yep.
Well, she commented yesterday on the John Neighbors show that it was Luke Holman was the pitcher who now is at LSU. And for some reason, I just didn't remember that being the case. I could have swore it was there. They had a different ace that last year. But I guess it was Luke Holman, who now, crazy enough, literally is going to be the ace of LSU this year. He almost went to Arkansas, came on a visit to Arkansas. And so it's kind of hilarious in hindsight that not only was Brad Bohanan insider trading on his own team, he was pulling a starting pitcher who is now at LSU, and Brad Bohanan's never coaching again because his buddy is an idiot. Curtis, do you have it pulled up, the statement?
I don't have the statement pulled up. I am familiar with the details.
So
this just
for those that didn't hear this story, obviously Brad Bohanan, head coach of the baseball team at Alabama, he got fired in the middle of the year last year because they started circling back and everyone found out that he had let this guy know on some betting stuff and told his buddy to hammer LSU because their starting pitcher was out, even though that hadn't been announced yet. And so he's texting his buddy hey, get this bet in and let me know when I can tell LSU. That right there, sketchy, bad. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You don't want to be Brad Bohanan. You don't want to be the guy getting the text. We make jokes about gambling a lot, but that's not good. The guy went to the guy who texted went to the sports book to try to place this bet, and he tried to place a $100,000 bet. They said, "Hey, no, our limit is $15,000." So the guy thought it would be a good idea to say, "No, guys, for real, you gotta let me get this bet in. I know it's going to hit. If y'all knew what I know, y'all would let me place this bet." And the sports book, who at this point is extremely convinced that this guy is sketchy, they're like, "Hey, we're not going to accept this bet, man. We could just feel like we have reason to believe that this is weird. This is raising some red flags. We're just not going to accept this." So this idiot says, "I got one last chance. I'm going to pull out the text messages from the Alabama head baseball coach. I'm going to say, look, the coach texted me, guys. Man. I'm not sketchy. I just have a text from the head coach saying that their starting pitcher they announced is not pitching. That's when they got in trouble, Curtis. That was it. And I don't want to say poor Brad Bohanan because he's an idiot who was betting against his own team, by the way. And look, I said on this very program that, like, oh, everybody cheats and everybody does all this stuff, and, like, we shouldn't do this. This is one thing I know for a fact Dave Van Horn would not do. Like, we can, I'm not saying Dave Van Horn is a perfect man who's never made a mistake. He would not bet against Arkansas and tell his buddy to bet against Arkansas and lie about the starting pitcher. I mean, it's just a very sketchy thing to do. And now that Luke Holman is at LSU, which thank you, Addison, for being right, and it took me being a good man to come in here and admit that. But
stand-up guy, Andrew Ellis.
Now it kind of makes me think, like, if we see Brad Bohanan at an LSU game this year, that's going to really, like, piss me off. Like, I hate this guy now. Man. And if anyone's remembering, Brad Bohanan was at Arkansas like 2 weeks before that happened and got ejected and mocked the fans and did the fake whoop pig suey. So you want to talk about karma.
Yeah.
You mocked the hog call. Not only do you get fired, you have the dumbest friend in the world. And I do mean that. He is the dumbest friend in the world. It's a tough one.
Yeah. And now he's got the 15-year show cause where if he does get hired, he can't coach an NCAA game for the first 5 years. Like, his ceiling now is, like, leading a team to the Little League World Series. I mean, that's kind of where
he's at. The Sean Payton thing, when he would coach that Little League team and then they made a really weird Kevin James Netflix show about it.
Exactly.
That's what he'll do.
So, yeah, tough scenes there. Whatever. Maybe he'll be a stowaway somewhere. I don't know. But his buddy, damn.
Maybe when we get Keyshawn Butte in on the gambling show, we can get Brad Bohanan in. Exactly. We can just get all the disgraced degenerates out.
I think it's only right.
I want to hear from his buddy, dude. His buddy is an absolute moron.
We need to find that guy.
I'm not sketchy. I just here I have proof that I'm sketchy. I'm not sketchy. Except my bet.
Exactly.
By the way, when you're trying to place a bet at a sports book, don't convince them that you're going to win. They don't want you to win. Like, they're not going to help you live your dream. That's not what the casino and sports books do.
Yeah, it's not how this works.
They are not. Yeah, you telling them I know it's going to hit is more incentive for them not to let you place it. I don't understand.
Although I need somebody on the inside to start giving me that kind of information because I'm getting killed on the bets. We'll talk about that in the
Any baseball coaches that want to hit us up, baseball season's coming up.
Jeez,
send us a text, and I promise you we will not do that.
Yeah.
I promise you I will not do that.
Exactly. All right, we're one down. Moving on. Dave Canales, the new head coach. I don't know how familiar you are with the name of the Carolina Panthers. He was the OC for the Bucks last year. Young guy. All right, cool. This dude's story is wild. Andrew, so wild, in fact, that he literally has a book that he co-authored with his wife about his secret life. And I think he's only 42 years old, but this dude's been through it, man. He was a drunk. He was a porn addict. He was a narcissist, like a diagnosed narcissist. He cheated on his wife a month before they got married. It's just this entire wild ordeal. And him and his wife, which, hey, good on them. Like, they're still together. But they wrote this book together about, kind of the turmoil that it caused in their marriage.
They wrote it together. That's good.
Yeah, wild, man. Co-authored. I feel like if I did all that shit, I don't feel like Michelle would be co-authoring a book. Yeah, I don't think that would happen. It's crazy, man. And so, cleaned himself up, got his act together, found God, all those things. Good. Glad you figured things out. But man, like, he's just been falling up and up and up since that time. Like, he was a position coach for the Seahawks for like 12 years. And while all of this was going on, he published the book while that was happening. And then it's been like a year or maybe 18 months. Yeah. And in that time, he's gone from position coach with the Seahawks to, the OC for the Tampa Bay Bucks to head coach of the Carolina Panthers. So,
guys, you want to advance in your career, just quit watching porn. And write a book with your wife.
Quit watching porn, put down the sauce, and find Jesus.
Yeah,
and you'll get where you want to go in life.
One.
Yeah.
I really hope that the assistant coach of my high school baseball team is not listening, because I'm about to tell a story about the assistant coach of my high school baseball team.
Let it fly.
So I'm friends with him on Facebook, and I just remember one day when I was in college scanning Facebook and seeing this long post, and he posted this long thing about, I am a sinner. I have committed adultery. I did not cheat on my wife, but I have dabbled in pornography. And he's wrote this long thing about I'm cleaning up my act and all that. And I think when you said he co-wrote it with his wife, when I saw, I'm not going to say the coach's name, but when I saw that Facebook post years ago, and when I hear that, I hear the same thing. And we've all been in relationships where we get it. When you mess up, you have to just do whatever your spouse says. That sounds to me like their wife was like, hey, this is what we're doing.
Yes.
And you're going to do it. And this is, I'll forgive you, but this is what we're doing. And at least for Dave Canales, it worked out. My high school baseball coach ended up getting fired a couple years later for calling a black kid a monkey.
Oh,
real life. It's a real life thing.
Yeah, you can't do that.
It's a real life thing that happened.
You can't do that. You can be a porn addict. You can be a drunk, but you can't do that.
You cannot. And he made he made this kid carry a cinder block and sing a rap song. I'm not kidding.
No,
that's a real. I wasn't planning on telling this story. He made him. It was a jump man. He got in trouble for listening to music in class, and so he was like, "Oh, you think it's funny? You think it's funny? Why don't you carry this cinder block around the baseball field?" And then the principal asked if he did it. He asked me point blank, and I was like, "Yeah, he did it."
Dude, that's tough, man.
I really did not plan on ranting about this baseball coach today, but he did also watch porn and get in trouble by his wife and had to make a statement. That's the point here.
Well done.
Don't watch porn, and if you do, you will advance in your career.
What qualifies a person as a porn addict? Is it the volume of porn or the type of porn? Like, do you get into hentai and then it's like, damn, I got a problem? Or
here's the real answer, Curtis.
Okay.
When it ruins your sex life with your wife.
Fair, yeah,
that's when
makes
it
sense.
happens.
Yeah.
That's when it becomes an issue where it's like, we don't have to get into the science of it.
Yeah.
But I think
he's not doing the things he used to do. He's asking me about some weird stuff. He's got an issue. Then he got confronted. I think that's probably what happened. Or they found the external hard drive full of crazy stuff.
When you're rolling by the park and you see a couple monkeys going at it, and your husband is all of a sudden making a beeline for the bathroom, that's when your husband has a porn addiction.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
When he's got his hand in his pocket at the park, that's when your husband has a porn addiction.
At the park. Yeah. Shit.
Are we 2 down yet?
Good Friday so far. Yeah, we're 2 down, on to the third.
A lot more light topic here.
Yeah. Joel Embiid, he's hurt again. And so that stinks because, he's putting together another MVP caliber season. Probably wouldn't matter anyway, though, because of this rule in the NBA where, you got to play in at least 65 games to be eligible for these major awards. This is very, very interesting, and it becomes more interesting by the day. What say you, Andrew?
So it's fascinating. So one, if you look at Joel Embiid's stats, so last year he was the MVP, averaging 33, 10, and 4 with just under 2 blocks per game. This year he's averaging 35, 11, and 6, almost 6 assists, 5.7 assists, which for a center is crazy.
It's nuts.
And his turnovers haven't really gone up. His blocks have gone up. And his steals have gone up. He's averaging a career high in blocks and steals. Lied, it's not a career high in blocks, but it's better than he's had the last few years. But yeah, like you said, he's only played 34 games, and he's missing this weekend. He's going to be out for a little bit.
Yeah,
seems like he's got a
meniscus,
meniscus injury, which now seems a little bit more legit. For a while, it seemed like he was just resting, which was weird because it was like, dude, you're going to end up losing this.
Right.
Here's the funniest part about it.
3 or 4 games left that he can miss, right?
Yeah, I don't know the exact number because you have to play 65, and so I guess he's played 34. I don't know how many Philly has left.
I think he's missed 13 or 14. I think is what I saw. But anyway,
gotcha. So you can miss, I guess, 16, 17.
Yeah, after 17, I think
gotcha.
you're screwed.
So yeah, I mean, by the end of the weekend, he will be running real low, and then he's gonna have to play 2 months straight or whatever. That's if this meniscus is fine. Here's my problem with it, Curtis. So look, Joel Embiid, those numbers I just read to you, if he plays the full season, clearly an MVP caliber season.
Sure.
Coming off of a year where he won it and he even won up his stats, so it makes sense. No other clear candidates, even though there's some guys having good years. I've seen a lot of players outraged about this. They're like, oh, it's complete BS. Like Draymond Green, who is the biggest asshole of all time, came to his defense and was like, yeah, it's messed up. I think you shouldn't have to do the 65 game. Curtis, I did the math on this. 65 out of 82, that is just under 80%. That's about 79.2%. I don't think that's a crazy parameter for playing games. Yeah, you should play in 80% of the season if you're going to be the most valuable player in the league.
Exactly.
If you miss 25% of work at any job field, you're not winning Employee of the Month. I'm just telling you right now.
Probably going to miss out on that.
You're not winning Employee of the Year
mug.
either. And look, it's fine. If you can't come into the office and be like, but when I was here, I was cooking. And that's what Joel Embiid was doing. But it's 65 games. That's not that crazy for an 82 game season.
Sure.
And I get it. We've learned now with injuries that not everyone has to playing 82 games is unrealistic. We shouldn't be asking these stars to do that. But I don't know, man. I'm not full on boomer where I'm they should never rest. But I'm you should have to play 80% of the season to win the MVP. Like that, it feels like a no-brainer to me. But yeah, it is kind of crazy that someone is going to win MVP due to Joel Embiid missing too many games. And whoever it is going to be. I mean, it's going to be like Tatum averaging 30 and 7 or something like that. Do you remember he didn't win Rookie of the Year because of a similar thing?
Right. Because he only played like 34
Brogdon,
games or something.
Malcolm Brogdon won Rookie of the Year averaging like 9 and 4.
Yeah, and he averaged 20 and 8.
Yeah,
that year. Yeah,
28 and 2 and 2.5. Yeah, that was where his career high in blocks came, 2.5. Yeah, but he only played 31 games. Where
31. That's right.
But I remember people being upset about it then, and I'm like, dude, you got to play games to be considered for awards. That's my take.
Yeah, and I wonder, like, listen, I don't have a huge problem with the load management stuff. Like, I know it sucks from a fan standpoint. You know, like you buy tickets out in advance, hope to see somebody, whatever. But especially if guys are coming off of injuries or if they're getting older, like Bron, like if you want to play on the second night of a back-to-back or whatever, okay, fine. But, I wonder if it puts some added pressure on guys who are legitimately, like, hurt or should probably take a night off to, like, continue to push through because, not only would it be cool to win an MVP award or whatever some of these things are, but, like, a lot of these dudes have incentives in their contract where you get more and more money based on, the accolades that you receive. So that's another part of it. But yeah, it is really weird. And I just wonder, like, let's say he misses, and gets to the cut line here with this meniscus injury. Like, will the Sixers do anything stupid? Like, just like start him for the jump ball, then sub him out? That'll hurt his stats, but like, maybe he plays enough. I don't know.
He's built up a little bit of a cushion. Yeah, maybe he can do it.
He damn sure has done that. Yeah.
If you don't want it to be an official rule, like, okay, I can get behind that. But I just don't think it's that crazy. But I get what you're saying, where there's the incentives, there's other things going on, and so it makes sense. And it is kind of weird. Like, if he had played 64 games, that's still a good portion of the season. If there's a wide enough gap, so maybe it doesn't have to be a written rule, but general rule of thumb, like, I'm okay with it. 65 games, not that crazy.
For sure.
Sucks. Sorry, you're 7'2", 350. Like,
yeah.
What are you gonna do?
God made you that way, buddy.
Yeah,
deal with it.
That's how you got the points and the rebounds that we're about to give you an award for. So you got the knees that come with it too.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Well, we're halfway down the 6-pack already. We're gonna move on here to number 4. And I know you love talking UFC. I'm gonna go on a mini rant here. Because I love it. You've made me a major fan of the UFC. But the thing that pisses me off constantly about it is they always release these banger cards and they almost never wind up being accurate. And I get it. Like, sometimes it's because a guy gets hurt in camp. That happens. It's a combat sport. Sometimes a dude misses weight and the fight gets scrapped. Like, that kind of ticks me off, but it happens. Yeah. But they also have this thing about announcing fights before, things are agreed upon and contracts are signed. And it almost ruined my day yesterday with the Dustin Poirier situation. And maybe they've rectified that now.
Bit. We were down for a few minutes.
But
there.
why do they do this? Like, I know you want to generate interest and, excitement and get these things out there in advance. You can sell tickets and everything like that. But dude, like, that was almost, I think, a really bad thing. Was that the co-main?
Yes, it was set to be the co-main for $299, which apparently it is still on as of 11:04 a.m.
Yeah.
So I thought it was hilarious, and we've talked about this a little bit. Like, for instance, Paulo Costa fights in a couple weekends. One of the funniest characters in the UFC. He's notorious.
Allegedly, yeah.
Yeah. He's notorious for not showing up for his fights, missing. He missed weight by like 25 pounds one time. I mean, he's just a complete, like,
I don't think
I'd
miss weight by 25 pounds.
He missed his most recent fight in Abu Dhabi in October. He was supposed to fight, but he got staph infection on his elbow.
Yeah,
and
there
was like
nasty.
A hole in it. And so he was like mad that the UFC pulled him off the card. But we're still waiting to see Paulo Costa fight. But he's another one where they keep announcing his fights, and then he'll go on Twitter and be like, I haven't signed anything. Like, yeah, I'm cool with fighting on that day. But that's usually to my understanding, that's what happens is they either get verbal agreements or whatever, which, like, look, I'm okay with that in theory. I mean, we celebrate football commitments whenever there's nothing signed. Like, I get that to an extent, but it is weird when the event is 5 weeks away, and in Paulo Costa's case, 2 weeks away. Now, I believe he has signed his contract at this point, and he's posted pictures. Yeah. He's planning to fight on February 17th or whatever it is. But yeah, like March 9th is when this Poirier St. Denis fight, and again, co-main event. So you're looking, and like, Poirier is not from Miami and St. Denis from France. So it's not like it's one of those where they scheduled it around a Miami crowd that's going to be there for him or anything. But it's great, 5 weeks away, and you don't have anything written in contract. So Dana White posted this thing on his Instagram story because this guy basically went on Twitter and was like, hey, I just talked to Benoit, and he said that him and his team, they didn't know about the fight until it was announced, and they're happy with it, but like whatever.
Right.
So Dana White posted this text message kind of proving that he had. Guys, this is the text message. So he texts and he says, I may have it done today. Just wanted to make sure those days worked. If it's Miami, it will be 5 rounds. This is to Benoit St. Denis, one of the fighters in this fight. He says, co-main event at UFC 299. I'll text you later to confirm. Please do not say anything to anyone. Don't want it leaking. Benoit St. Denis responds, no worries. I keep it for me. March or April is okay for me. And then Dana White texts him later and says, March, 5 rounds, got it down. We just filmed the announcement. Get ready, my man. And the guy says, great news. Thank you very much. Let's go to battle. Now, Dana White posted that just to kind of prove, hey, I had talked to this guy.
Right.
That is a bizarre way to do business.
That is
for
bizarre, man.
And look, this is not some prelim fighter. Benoit St. Denis is a huge name. Dustin Poirier, Louisiana guy, like knocked out Conor McGregor, one of the biggest stars in the UFC. If you have a fight like that booked, I'd say you get it signed early. You don't text the guy and be like, hey, he didn't even say a date. He just said, we're fighting in March.
Yeah.
He said, hey, be ready for March 5. He didn't even say Dustin Poirier's name. He didn't say anything. He just was like, hey, you want to fight in March? He's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, March
and then
or
he
April,
sees,
good
oh,
for
I'm
me.
fighting Dustin Poirier. The guy, Benoit St. Denis' coach said that Benoit's wife woke him up and was like, hey, babe, you're fighting Dustin Poirier. What a horrible thing to wake up to.
No kidding, man.
Oh, man, yeah. Francis Ngannou's fighting you, man. That's who you signed up to fight. Wait a minute, what? It's like that's crazy, but man, that's the funniest part about this though is like in other sports, when weird news happens and things like kids decommit, like Ashton Bethel Roman, for instance, gets out of his NLI from Arkansas. We're like, oh man, what happened? And we kind of have to speculate and wonder. And some people have their sources. In the UFC, they just come right out and tell you. Like Dustin Poirier posted on Instagram. Well, he started the whole thing because he posted a tweet yesterday. And he's like,
Fights
hey,
off, still
fights
grinding,
off, but
yeah.
I'm still working. And everybody's like, what? Fights off. Posts on Instagram, and he's like, sorry, guys, just couldn't get in contact with my manager for a few days. Looks like we got it done. And I'm like, what?
What do you mean you couldn't get in contact with your manager? Like,
That's and so you tweeted it. But by the way, credit to Dustin Poirier because he's not an idiot. He posted that initial tweet of my fight's off or whatever on purpose, and he got what he wanted here.
Yeah.
And I like when stars use their leverage, but this kind of stuff happens way too often in the UFC. But I just think it's funny because like if this happened in football or basketball, there would be all kind of stories and rumors and leaks and like.
well, yeah, like imagine, I don't know, like the Arkansas Notre Dame football game, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like in week 3, and you're in the middle of camp, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, actually,
on Thursday, they're like, Notre Dame missed weight. Sorry.
yeah.
Their quarterback's got the flu. They're out.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that's wild. I'm really glad that it's still happening though, because it's gonna be a hell of a
too,
fight.
and man,
I'm looking forward to that.
I'm a Sugar Sean O'Malley fan, the bantamweight champion of the world. He's defending his belt as the main event. We just spent 5 minutes talking about the co-main,
Yeah.
which is amazing. The entire card. I mean, my boy Kevin Holland is on that card as well. Gilbert Burns, Jack Della Maddalena is on that card. Peter Yan, Song Yadong. I mean, we'll get there. We'll tell y'all about these guys in a couple weeks.
Peter Yan Son Yadong is gonna be.
Yeah, which they moved to the main card, and they moved to heavyweight. Jonathan Almeida down to the prelims. Scotty's in the room. I'm just going to look. You don't have to say it on camera. You remember Jonathan Almeida? We watched him fight. They moved him to the prelims because it was so damn boring.
That's right.
You remember that? Well, if you didn't have fun, don't worry. The UFC did the right thing. You will not have to pay to watch him this time. But yeah, I mean, I love the UFC, and I love stuff like this. I'm glad they worked it out. But it just tells you how hectic of a business it is and what makes it kind of a fun sport to follow.
Yeah, for sure, man. Andrew, I like that Houston Astros hat, brother.
Yeah, I found it like I've had it for like 5 years. I found it recently, like it had been lost in the shuffle for a while when I moved houses or something. I don't know, but found it and I'm handsome again. It's nice.
You are. It would probably look equally or even better if it got flipped out for a Razorback logo. You probably find it over at Alumni Hall, I would imagine.
Maybe, yeah. I think Alumni Hall does have hats. I'm told that they have all of them.
We've been taking a look at some of those, man. Those baseball hats, like if you're getting geared up for this college baseball season, you need some Razorback swag. For me, like the hats would be the way to go. I mean, Alumni Hall has a crazy selection. Yeah, the black one. Yeah, the gold. They've got all of those. They really, really look good. But you can find anything there, man. Jerseys, anything for the entire family. You can shop for your kiddo, shop for yourself, the wife. Like, listen, people think that Razorback gear and things like that, like, oh, it's for the bro. No, it's not. Like, you can get it for anybody, your dog, your cat. Maybe the bird that's been trying to fly through my window every day for some reason. It's just weird behavior. But hey, maybe he just wants some Razorback gear. I'm going to direct him to 3417 North College Avenue. Go to Alumni Hall. They'll take care of you there. But no, we really appreciate them and everything they got going on over there. It's the ultimate Razorback shopping destination. Again, that's 3417 North College Avenue in Fayetteville. Shop online at nattystatesports.com/alumni hall. They got a lot going on over there. It'll be worth the trip.
Sounds good to me. Hillary still has this Beat Bama shirt. I don't know what year. It must have been from like 2014.
Yeah.
When the Bama played at Arkansas. But yeah, she's still got the shirt. She wears it to bed like every other week.
They also got the Hog Tune stuff over there. Scotty's been talking about that because Gary Thomas is him. And so they got some of that stuff over there. That's worth a trip for me. I was a little upset because I went to the grocery store yesterday right there beside Alumni Hall, but it was too late. Like they were already closed. But
you were shopping at Whole Foods, right?
I was at Whole Foods in my Manscaped shirt, and I was catching eyes.
Big money Curtis going to Whole Foods.
Well, it's the only place I can get my mushroom coffee, but we'll talk about that at a later date. Judge me if you wish. But
I'm impressed. I'm impressed that you're going to Whole Foods.
I'm probably on like some Karen's TikTok at this point, I would imagine, because I was catching eyes. And for a while, I was like, am I dragging toilet paper on my foot? And you're like, what the hell is going on? And then it was like, oh no, like the big "your balls will thank you" on the back of my T-shirt probably doesn't play in that crowd as much as it does. I noticed it last night
when I got home. I was like, oh, I've been wearing this all day.
It's like when we walked into Loaf and Joe's to get a drink, before we started the show, and we're like, oh yeah.
Shout out to Loaf and Joe's, but also Loaf and Joe's. How many times do we have to walk up in there before y'all recognize us?
I know.
Like, oh, our boys are here.
Yeah, like, hey, fellas, the usual, maybe.
Yeah, we come in there like every day. Curtis just wants to walk. So I'll ask Curtis to go somewhere with these. Like, can we just walk somewhere? Like, let's just walk. So
nice.
We end up at Loaf and Joe's every day because it feels good outside and we want to walk. And Loaf and Joe's is perfect walkable distance.
Andrew, listen, man, like the Razorbacks basketball team, they are leaning all the way into the love triangle rumors in the best way possible, and that's by making a freaking joke out of it. And I love that. TB, I know you saw it. He had the IG post at Mizzou with Kate Arbogast doing the triangle thing. Jalen Graham's, I think, was the best with the with the Spider-Man meme where it's like him and Devo and TB. This shit affects people's lives in a major way. And people say, like, oh, cyberbullying is not real or whatever. Oh, these guys, they get paid now, so they're subject. Like,
so I can call them gay.
Yeah, and it's like there are boundaries to this that people just go overboard all the time. And if you think just because these guys don't respond that they don't see it, you're crazy. Like they absolutely do. It gives me a lot of joy to see them go from ignoring it to making fun of it, because it makes all those folks who are throwing out these rumors from sources, it makes them look like idiots. And I like it. And it also tells me that, like, it might be bringing these guys together because they had chemistry issues before. And now all of a sudden, the world's coming down against them. And they're like, hey, screw you guys. We'll do us. And we're just going to start going out there and kicking people's ass on the basketball court and making fun of all of you.
Curtis, I couldn't love this more. I love that Trevor Brazile did it. And one, Curtis, I'm also glad they did it after the Missouri game, after they won.
Yes.
This would have been if they had done this Tuesday, I wouldn't have loved it. I would have been like, wait a minute, what? It's kind of just like you got a game and all that. And I'm glad that they waited until they won it and they beat Missouri. Perhaps there's a reason they did it after they beat Missouri. Perhaps
I bet you there is. Yes.
But I love that they did it after a win because they read the room properly. They read the room on Tuesday and found out probably wouldn't be good to make a joke about this.
Yeah.
Even Wednesday, day of the game, probably wouldn't be funny. Thursday, the day after the game, when you beat them by 7, it should have been by 30.
But you dominated them.
Right.
Put it out there.
I love it. And look, guys, like, it's silly. It's silly that, like, people really wanted this to be a thing.
I know.
And they were like upset at us for not talking about it. It's like, dude.
Right. I mean,
it's just weird.
We were sitting here yesterday.
By the way, Trevin was catching the brunt of the the rumors made Trevin out to be
a wild boy,
an adulterer. I mean, come on.
It's crazy.
You can make all the accusations you want, but Trevin Brazile's not an adulterer.
No, he's a good dude. And it was so crazy to the point of like Scotty and I were sitting here listening to I never remember the name of the show, but like Brandon Walker even was talking about it, like bringing up like, you guys hearing this stuff about Arkansas? Like, really? Like this kind of shit has made it, national. Get out of here. So I'm glad they're leaning into it and doing what they're doing. And you bring up a good point about like waiting for a win to do something like that, like the timing of it. So I need to ask you, did you see the barbecue chicken video?
I saw it somewhere, but I don't know if I watched it.
Okay, so Arkansas basketball put out a post-game video. It was Thursday evening, and it was 56 points in the paint. Sounds like barbecue chicken. They had like just Makai dunking on him, Graham dunking on him, Shaq.
Little big chicken reference?
Oh,
or
yeah.
no?
Well,
Okay.
Shaq's in the overlay, and it's like barbecue chicken. And it was
good.
really funny. And
Are the
I
Hogs
saw
back?
people were talking. People were talking.
These are just way better vibes, though, than we've been.
It's also
we've been
sponsored by
accustomed
Wright's
to.
Barbecue, and we'll be there later today. But
We'll be there later today, so yeah.
um,
Might not be working, but we'll be there.
yeah, good timing. Like I saw mixed reactions of people being like, okay, like you beat Missouri, like let's not get too carried away here. But you know what? People have been waiting on a win. Like they need
people have been
to
waiting
like
on a win.
enjoy that.
And, just have some fun.
Yeah,
We've been wanting to
a little
have
fun,
fun. That's
man.
what we've been calling for on the show. We're like, hey, we just want to
Yes.
smile a little bit. This stuff made me smile, so I'm happy
And
for
Muss
it.
said that after the game. He was like, you know what? They look like they had a lot of fun out there playing.
Right.
And boy, they have looked like they've been having the opposite of fun in some of these other games.
I wish they
so,
just never had to play Saturday. I wish we could just live in this world forever.
yeah, be nice. Yeah, because the last thing they need to do now is go down and lose to LSU, and then we're just like, really?
That is truly the last
It was-
thing
it was
anyone
fun
should
for
ever
2
do.
days. Yeah, whatever. We're moving on. Friday flurry. We got a few things we need to hit on here. I want to start because did you see the hooper Robert Carpenter from New Mexico State literally knock out a player from Liberty last night?
I'd know. Punched him?
Punched Draymond Greened him. Draymond Green Jordan Poole action punched this dude. Like they got kind of tangled up, on one end of the floor after a shot went up or whatever. And it looks like this dude Robert Carpenter, maybe he took kind of a shoulder or a nudge or whatever, but he punched this dude in the face and dropped him, knocked him out, and obviously got ejected from the game. He's probably
Yeah, I'd be suspended for a while. Probably.
probably probably the rest of the year. It was wild. And then why would you punch a kid from Liberty? They're very nice
Yeah.
young men, I feel like. But
Unless
dude,
they were recruited by Hugh Freeze, in which case.
no kidding. Of course it happened in New Mexico State, though. Like New Mexico State basketball, they're like the longest yard of basketball teams. Like last year, they had the dude who literally shot and killed someone. And it was a self-defense thing. Like it was part of a setup, but he had a gun. He shot somebody and killed him. Like that happened. And there was the whole deal with like an assistant or a staff member like hiding the gun or taking it away or whatever. Then the damn program got canceled. Like last several games of the season gets
forgot
canceled
about
because of the whole hazing thing.
And again, this is a year after being a round of 32 NCAA tournament team, right?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Arkansas ruined New Mexico
they
State
broke 'em.
basketball, beat them, put them out of the tournament. Chris Jans is like,
On a deper level
Screw
than
this,
we
I'm out.
realized. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
Chris James' departure probably played an equal role, I would say.
it's just wild behavior, man. Like these dudes just can't get right.
I know
no
what it
matter
is,
what they
Curtis.
do.
Their logo, their Aggies logo, like New Mexico State is the Aggies and Texas A&M are the Aggies.
Yeah,
Two completely different Aggies.
yeah.
Two different agriculture enthusiasts. The one in New Mexico State, he looks mean.
He does look mean.
He looks mean. I don't know why. It's like, why? Well, it's the meanest farmer of all time. I don't know. Like, farmers aren't mean.
And we noticed at the NCAA tournament, Scotty can vouch for this. Like that dude is spinning that pistol nonstop.
Oh, really? Just-
It's got a
Awesome.
electric mustache, and even their
What
beat
do
writer.
pistols have to do with agriculture?
I have no idea.
Where do they get this? Like, do they know? They just picked a mean guy, and they're like, "This is what an Aggie is."
Yeah, I mean, like the Aggie, like the dudes, what do they call them? The Yell leaders
Yeah,
or
the
whatever.
Yell leaders.
I mean,
Those look like
they,
Aggies.
They dress like sailors still, and like I don't understand that uniform, but
I don't
yeah,
know.
this dude is straight cowboying, curled mustache, like it's intimidating, and so maybe that's part of it, or maybe there's just nothing to do in New Mexico besides get in trouble. But like, man, they gotta get their stuff together. It's nuts.
John Jones is from New Mexico. He gets in trouble a lot, so
Exactly.
makes
Exactly.
a lot of sense. Yeah, Curtis. there is a UFC event this weekend.
Okay.
Not a big one. It's actually a borderline shameful UFC event. It's a fight night in the Apex, which the Apex is like the UFC's performance facility. Which
Sure.
during COVID was cool. They would have fights in there, and it was like, oh, no sound. This is pretty cool. Now that COVID is not happening, and there are arenas that you can book for this, it doesn't make any sense why they still do like 12 fight night events a year. Like, I don't know.
Right.
But it's a middleweight fight between Nasruddin Imavov and Roman Dolidze. Just simply not a main event.
Okay.
This just should not be a main event of a UFC event. Those dudes. They do not put asses in seats, and that's why they are having this event at a seat with no, or an arena with no seats. But there is one guy on the card that I want to. Or I don't know. Should I save this for the gambling show?
Are you going to bet on him?
Oh, I'm going to
encourage us to bet on him. We'll save it for the gambling show.
We'll save it for that's a tease.
Teaser.
Anyone listening right now?
We're doing that right after this.
The gambling show, we're going to record it, like an hour from now. So in about an hour, you'll be able to listen to it. Check out the gambling show, UFC Fight Night picks. But what I'm not betting on, but I will be tuning into, Livvy Dunne gets humiliated tonight in Baton Rouge. Arkansas Gymnastics, they're slaying the beast. They're going into Baton Rouge. They dropped a 7 in the polls, by the way, Razorback Gym, after posting their third straight 197 plus. I don't know. I'm sure someone scored high. Who knows? But it's gonna be a big night.
Let me ask you this: just given our history with famous gymnasts, have we confirmed that Livvy Dunne is still an LSU?
I haven't.
Okay.
No. Oh, you mean? Well, she didn't play last year, or she didn't participate. I guess I should say.
Well, we thought Suni Lee was coming to Fayetteville.
I'm like 98% sure she's still at LSU.
Okay. Well, we'll roll with it anyway.
Yeah. But anyways,
she's gonna be
either
there.
way, whoever's there, Arkansas's beating them.
They're gonna humble them.
She's definitely still at LSU, at least according to our Instagram, which has her and Angel Reese on this cover of Sports Illustrated. Angel Reese also a bum. LSU sports, they're all getting exposed this year.
It's gonna be a rough weekend
one by
for 'em,
one,
and it's gonna be delivered by Arkansas.
Paul Skeens is not at LSU, but he did have a relationship with Livvy Dunne. But the baseball team is also gonna suck, even though he's not there anymore. So LSU fans, get at us.
Yeah, holler at us. Jump in the live stream tomorrow at 11 a.m. for hoops. That's what you need to do.
I forgot. I forgot that Arkansas plays LSU in basketball.
They are still playing
They're losing
basketball.
that one too, but y'all already knew that one. But yeah, that's what's going on. I'm excited to watch the Gym Backs tonight. 197.550 is what they had against Bama a couple weeks ago. That's our target. That's where we're going for.
I like it.
Let's crush it. Let's get it. By the way, let's get a 10 going for Lauren Williams, the Bentonville girl on floor. She had a great. She's had 2 back-to-back 10s, and then they just decided not to give her a 10 for.
And then we're gonna get her in here. We're gonna talk to her about it.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, hey, she's right down the road.
Yeah.
Might as well. I mean, I guess they're all right down the road. But
yeah, literally.
She came from right down the road. So.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Hopefully this jogs your memory. Otherwise, this is bad airtime. You said something to me about wanting to talk about Larry David.
Oh, Larry David. So
Hit me.
Larry David, what's crazy is when I told you I wanted to talk about Larry David, the thing I wanted to talk about had not even.
I know one thing, and so I'm wondering what you're going to bring up. But
so the reason I wanted to talk about Larry David is because he's about to have the 25th. I guess it's not the 25th season. It's the 14th or 15th season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, but it's 25 years since the beginning. They've been doing Curb Your Enthusiasm, maybe the best show on television ever.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's great.
Tremendous. Larry David's the man. I wanted to congratulate him. This is the final season also, so. If you've never tuned into Curb, you better binge it all up and join us for the final season. It's going to be fun. He went on Bill Simmons' podcast, who's like Bill Simmons is. I want to say he's my idol, but I probably wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for Bill Simmons.
Sure.
So it was really cool to see 2 men I admire a lot chop it up, but. I wanted to talk about it just to congratulate him. Then he choked out Elmo yesterday.
Yes, I was hoping you'd bring that up.
By the way, his press tour has been so funny because every question people ask him, he's like, They on that same program, they asked him about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, and he was like, "You got some nerve asking me that. You got some nerve." He was like genuinely upset, and he was like, "I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit." But yeah, and then just choked out Elmo.
Just choked him out.
And
man.
Elmo's father watched in horror. If anyone hasn't watched this clip, by the way, one day on this show we will be able to play stuff like that. But
yeah.
Just Twitter, Larry David, Elmo, or YouTube, whatever. You will find what you're looking for.
You might have to turn off your safe.
If you want to see an old man choke out a small red puppet, there you go. But the funniest part, the Elmo's dad is like watching it. He's horrified. He just looks horrified. And the guy who's doing the voice for Elmo is just like grunting too. He's like pissed even when it's just the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, it was really good. Did you see the Elmo tweet that's gone viral?
Yes, where he was. You know, it's crazy. I almost talked about Elmo on Wednesday, and I almost talked about Larry David on Wednesday. Had no idea these two things would cross over. But yeah, Elmo just tweeted out on a random day, "How's everybody doing?" or whatever.
The quotes to that have been amazing.
Horrible.
Seen a lot of them from Arkansas fans, especially with like the Muss stuff coming up, and just the team sucks, and just like not effing great, Elmo, not doing great at all.
What was the actual tweet that he said that Elmo said? It was literally like, "How's everyone feeling today?"
Pretty
or
much
something like that, and then just everyone responded with, them in a dumpster fire basically.
Yeah,
But
man.
yeah, it's been a fun week.
It has been a fun week. It's
Lot
been
of
a good
stuff
week.
going on.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. Anything else? You got anything else? You good?
No NFL this weekend. We're just watching ball, watching a lot of basketball. It's nice that the Hogs play at 11, so
That
that we
is
get
clutch.
to kind of enjoy our weekend.
We get to watch the good
I'll
basketball.
tell you what
after.
I'm doing tomorrow night, Curtis. I don't know if I've said this on air yet. I'm going to the Grove in Lowell. I'm going to watch Todd Packer from The Office. He's gonna.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he's doing a stand-up set or not, but there's like an Office trivia. But Hillary's dad's in town. He's a massive Office fan. I'm a massive Office fan. She's a massive Office fan. Her mom is not, but she goes with us to these things.
Okay.
But it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to that. That's what I'm doing after the game.
I like that. I've been informed that there's some event that's called Frost Fest.
Yeah, which
that's
we didn't get invited to.
It's a very beer heavy ordeal, and so that's right up my alley. So I might go check that out after the game. We'll see.
You better be ready to shell out a lot of money if you're going
okay.
to Frost Fest.
I to be honest with you, I should be able to get that expensed. If you're listening, fellas, we'll see if you take care of that.
I still think it's crazy
I will
that we weren't
produce
invited.
content from this event.
That the entire company wasn't invited.
I know.
But
It's
yeah.
wild.
But tonight we're going to Wrights.
We
did get invited to Wrights.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I'm looking forward to that.
Barely, but we got invited.
Yeah, yeah. We're
That is actually going to be a whole lot of fun. I mean, 15 offensive linemen. That's almost every single one of them. I think almost all the scholarship guys. Yeah. It'll be good to see those guys chop it up a little bit.
We're kind of like the road crew. Like John's the star of the band, and we just we'll just go set everything up and then hang out.
We're the
a little bit.
groupies.
So, yeah, or the groupies. That's probably better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love Triangle with Neighbors.
Josh Braun, known John Neighbors show groupie.
All right. Well, we're gonna get out of here because, quite honestly, we got another show to start right after this. So
if you didn't like hearing us talk, we're gonna do it a little bit in about an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. Stay tuned. So, all right. Well, appreciate everybody for tuning in as always. It's been the Natty State Six Pack with Andrew Ellis and Curtis Wilkerson. We will be back on Monday after what I'm sure will be a wild weekend with no shortage of things to talk about, and we will catch you guys then.